I'm just going to go through the agenda with you and we'll give you a project status update. We'll go through the key differences between the old and the new platform. And whilst we've tried to keep things as similar as possible to the current SPS system, clearly there are differences. And we know it takes a bit of time just to get used to the platform. So, obviously this is one of those sessions just to help you get familiar with the platform. And we'll do more sessions like this as needed, just to make sure everybody's ready to actually switch over. So we'll talk through process timings and what's different there. I'm going to go through registering on the platform. I know some of you have already registered. But for those of you that haven't, we'll step through that. And then we're going to just talk through what are the weekly tasks, which should be pretty similar to current SPS, but with obviously some changes. And obviously at the end, some questions and answers. So just a quick project update on where we're at. So we have 30th of September as the target go live date. We're really trying to hold to that, but I know there's not a lot of time between now and then to achieve that. And I think one of the key things is making sure, obviously, we've got, certainly from the buyer side, enough people registered and ready and on the platform. And we're making good progress on that. And we are, setting out regular communications and helping people to get registered on the platform. So we're up to 200 plus and getting there. So just need to make sure we have all the right people on the platform by then, and we will constantly monitor that, and we do daily audits, and we'll make a sensible decision as to when we think everybody's ready to go live on the platform. Just so you know a bit of background, we've been testing this platform since February 2021 this year, and we've been holding a number of forums with the travel community. Some travel companies very kindly gave us some of their time. We got a lot of feedback from that. We adjusted the processes, we've adjusted the platform, and it's gone through a bit of an evolution through that process. We went into pilots 8 weeks ago with 4 companies. Within that group, there is some large buyers and sellers, or tour operators and agencies. And so that's been going through the weekly settlement cycle. And we're approaching 1 million transactions per week, which consists of over thousands of transactions per week. So the platform is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And we put it through its paces. We've also done significant performance testing. We've done significant security testing. We've had a world-class security advisory company called Kudelski do a full audit on the platform. They've cross-checked to make sure there's no sort of ways of entering in the system that you shouldn't do. So we're pretty pleased with the outcome of their report. We have an official report on that if anybody wants that. So that's an update on where we are with the project. And as I said, obviously, any questions, please feel free to ask on this forum. There is also ways of getting hold of us through various support channels, which we will share with you at the end. But obviously, from obviously as sellers, we know obviously there's more that you will need to do on the platform with submitting transactions. We're happy to strike up one-to-one discussions with you. Have separate sessions when needed, just to get you to where you need to be on this platform. Should you wish to obviously register on the platform, that is. Okay, thanks, Michaela. Moving on to the next slide. So I'm going to now hand over to Michaela, who's going to run through the key differences, and then Michaela will obviously then jump into the actual platform and show you how that works.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to talk you through the platform today. I'm going to start off by reviewing the key differences. So first up, probably the main and most striking initial difference in the platform is that bookings are not going to be collected unless buyers, so the agents, accept, amend or reject them. So I know previously with SPS that the agents have had the opportunity to reject bookings, but bookings have then automatically gone through if the agent hasn't handled them at all. In Travel Ledger, the agent does need to handle them and either accept, amend or reject before they are transacted and processed. Secondly, we do have an automated refund setup as well. So if you are going to be processing refunds through the Travel Ledger platform, then they're going to be calculated and netted with each seller like they are today. However, if a buyer is an overall credit, then the buyer is refunded when disbursement takes place the following week. So what that means is if a buyer is in credit with a seller, so they've got more refunds coming their way than what they owe the seller. So for example, if you have a week where the buyer owes the seller, so the buyer owes you and the seller £1,000 in bookings, but then you actually owe them £2,000 in refunds, then that is taken into account and the buyer would actually be refunded the difference between the two, so the £1,000 by you, the seller, as part of that. So I'll show you in the timeline on the next page, but you are included in that collection and refund process there.
And Michaela, I think it's also fair to mention, as you're going to say, I'll let you say that.
That's okay. I forgot it myself, Simon, and I just remembered it when it clicked through. I have done a YouTube video specifically on refunds, with it being such a broad area and there's lots of detail there. If you go onto YouTube and search Travel Ledger, you'll see our channel come up. All the webinars that we've posted so far are saved and on there. And there's also how-to videos, one of those being refunds. So there's a 5-minute video on there that's exclusively dedicated to refunds, that you can watch at your leisure. And if you have any questions on that, then do let us know separately. So process timing, I'm just going to go through the timeline of the platform with you, just to reiterate that, you know, you'll see how similar it is to what you currently have in SPS as well. I think the real benefit is just a little bit more flexibility now. So first up, in terms of timings and what happens when in the platform, sellers, so yourselves, you have the opportunity to upload your file anytime on Thursday through to Friday at Thursday and Friday through to 9:59 a.m. on Monday morning. So if you did so wish to load something at the weekend now, then you could. So starting on Thursday, Friday, the usual loading days, but you've got as long as until Monday at 9:59 in the morning to upload a file. So when that file's uploaded, and we say 9:59 on a Monday for the close of the upload, because that's when the buyer review period starts. So sellers upload their files by this time, and then buyers are able to go into the platform and review those between 10 on Monday in the morning and 15:59 on a Wednesday afternoon. So buyers have the opportunity to go into the platform and either accept, amend or reject bookings. As I mentioned earlier, they do need to do so now within Travel Ledger. So after the buyer review period closes at 15:59 on a Wednesday, we then have settlement day on a Wednesday. So at 4 p.m, 1600 on Wednesday, that starts. And then we've likewise got the collection day. So the direct debit is submitted to BACS on that same day at 5 p.m. The direct debit collection is executed on Friday before the funds are cleared the following Wednesday at about 11 a.m. We then on the same day on that Wednesday have the disbursement day to the creditors. So that happens at 1 on the Wednesday before those funds are received by those creditors on a Friday. So as you can see, the timeline is really very much the same as what you have with SPS. You know, you have the sellers have a window to upload and buyers have a window to review. There is some more flexibility with that. And you know, you can upload and review outside of these times. These times just line up with the next sort of collection date. So registration, now we're going to actually start to look at the platform. I know some of you will already be registered on the platform or will have registered within a test environment if you were with us for any of the pilot. But I'm going to show you a live registration today so you can get a feel for that if you haven't yet registered. So I'm going to show you a registration email and just discuss forwarding it if you receive it and you're not the person who should be registering. We're going to have a look as well at completing a registration on the platform, so completing that form. We're then going to go through setting up two-factor authentication. So two-factor authentication is an additional layer of security that we've applied to the platform. It does require you to have an app on either a mobile phone or on your desktop. So I'm going to show you that today, and I'm going to show you the desktop version because I am conscious that some people don't want to necessarily use their mobile phones or can't use their mobile phones for work purposes. So we'll go through using the desktop version of the app to set that up so you can see it end to end. And then I'm going to show you adding new users because it is really useful to have more than one person on the platform to support with the day-to-day, but then also help out with any administration or annual leave and those kind of things. Okay. Once I've shown you this, just to point you back to YouTube again, we do have another YouTube how-to all about registration. So you'll be able to find that on the same channel as the refunds video. Okay, so I'm going to pop out the presentation and we're going to go into my Gmail account. A bit of a blue Peter, here's one I did earlier. We've got a registration email from the Travel Ledger platform inviting me to join the Travel Ledger platform with my company. So you can see there's an invite here just detailing that, and then there's a link here to create our company profile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this now. Before I do that, just as I mentioned before that I would cover off forwarding emails. If you do receive, or somebody in your team or company receives a registration email and they are not the person who is responsible for accepting our terms and conditions, then you can actually forward this on. So if you or a colleague receives this email and decides, I'm not the person to register, I'm not responsible for accepting the legal terms and conditions to use the Travel Ledger platform, I need to forward it on to someone else. You can actually just forward this email onto that person and they will also then be able to click through and register. So if we click through to register now, I'll just show you something to be conscious of in that situation. Here we go. Sorry, my computer's just running a little bit.
I think it's whenever we share with Zoom, it just, I don't know, it seems to run slowly. It doesn't run that slowly in live. It's pretty quick. It's
when we do these webinars and we've got large groups, it seems to take its toll on my poor old laptop. Okay, so you can see the registration page here now. If I had forwarded it, then whoever has received that in your place would just need to update the email address and name, because that is pre-populated to the person who was originally sent the registration email. So you can just see these are open fields, they can be edited. If I wanted to change a name on here, for example, from Michaela D to Michaela Durham, I can update that easily. Likewise with the email address. So when you receive this, your company name will be pre-populated, as will your company ID. I'm just going to add a company ID quickly now because I haven't done it the way that it will be done for you. But you won't need to do that. Your ABTA ID will already be in place there because ABTA have set this up in advance. And I will just quickly add an address. Okay, so that's all complete. In this case, I'm happy with those registration details. I've already updated my name. You can see my role here is fixed to admin because that's how I've been assigned, and the first user is always an admin. And then I just need to set a password for my account. So the platform will let you know if it's not happy with your password, if it's not secure enough, or if your two password entries don't match. As you can see there, the strength on mine is fine. It accepts that. So the last thing to do before we click on to register is to accept the terms and conditions. It's worth noting here that when I tick this, it's going to populate this very brief set of terms and conditions because I'm showing you this in a test environment. Your terms and conditions will be the official Travel Ledger terms and conditions, and the ones that you want to make sure are reviewed and accepted by the responsible person. So if I'm happy with these, I click on accept, and then I can go through to register. So once I click on register, we're going to log in for the first time. So check the email address I used. I'm going to enter the email address used to register and the password that I've just set as part of my registration. So then when I click on login, we're going to go through to look at two-factor authentication. I think I was logged in before it's defaulted. Let me just log out, sorry, and not do that before you. I've got a very grumpy laptop today with this call. Apologies. Okay, so let's try that again. So what the screen's doing now is it's running very slowly on my laptop. Apologies, it's due to Zoom.
Do we need to switch it on?
We do. I haven't switched it on. That's where I've gone wrong, sorry. Are you able to switch it on for me, Simon? Have you got the thing?
I don't actually, sorry.
Okay. Just trying to think the best way to do it. Bear with me.
I would suggest we skip past the two-factor authentication. There is a good video on that, which describes the process, and I think we move on to the other parts of what the platform does.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry, everybody. That's my bad. I've not switched that on before the call. We're in a test environment, so it's not automatically live. But at this stage, when you normally log in the first time, you would have to set up your two-factor authentication. As I mentioned before, we've got a video dedicated to registration on the YouTube, which does do it properly, unlike me today. So you'll be able to review that and have a look, and then do let us know if you've got any questions. Okay, so what I'm going to show you next is actually around the weekly tasks in the platform. So what you'll do on a day-to-day basis in Travel Ledger.
Kayla, can I just make one more comment just on the registration? What we suggest is you register on our sandbox first, so you can test out your processes. And actually our sandbox environment doesn't ask for two-factor authentication either, it's just the production environment. So if you are not registered on the sandbox, if you want to actually test some processes on the sandbox, like uploading your files, making sure your file formats work, making sure you know how to add users, get your users used to the process, then please reach out to us and we'll send you an invitation. We'll most likely reach out to you as well and ask, do you want to be registered on Sandbox? And then you'll get a registration to that platform first, test out your processes, and then we'll then send you the registration for the live platform once you're ready to move on to that.
Thank you. So weekly tasks, what are the things as a seller that you're going to be doing regularly in the Travel Ledger platform? So much like with SPS, you're going to be uploading bookings. There's a couple of different ways you can do that in Travel Ledger. You can use Secure FTP to automatically upload and emails, which I'll show you where that can be configured in the platform. And there's also a manual option, which I'll be showing you today, a manual upload of a file. Also, you'll be able to review your booking and export data, which I will also show you. Okay, so if we go back into the Travel Ledger platform now, I'm going to log in as this demonstration user, as seller at travelledger.com. So if I log into the platform, it's going to bring us to a dashboard page, which actually in the medium term, you will be able to see a dashboard in your view as well. You'll see it's just got a little bit of information on it at the moment because it's in a test environment. We're just building that at the moment before it goes live. What I will do is I'll show you this transactions area, which will be your default landing page for the moment anyway. So I click on the menu and go to transactions. You can see we've got 3 tabs here. We've got bookings, remittances, and import file. As a seller, you will be adding files, then we'll be looking at import file today. And before I show you that, because this is where we manually import a file, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly talk you through the SFTP setup and email as well. So if we go in the menu to settings and then down the list to data delivery, you'll see within this page there are a couple of different options. So you'll see we've got the ability to turn on enable secure FTP and also enable email delivery for automated delivery email. So if you wish to send your files to us automatically without somebody having to log into the platform and do that, that's available by email and it's available by SFTP. If you need somebody from your IT department to set that up for you, then this is the page with all the information regarding that configuration that you'll need to share with them. And the same with emails. You can set up email delivery here and add the email addresses that will be acceptable to send those files through to us. So this is where you would configure any automated setup with your IT teams. What I'm going to show you now is if we go back to transactions, I'm going to show you how to do that manually, which I think quite a lot of people do as well. So we've got the transactions area and we've got 3 tabs for bookings, remittances and import file. If I select import file, it will bring us to this page here where I'm able to upload a file to the platform. You'll see there's a little button here which says auto commit uploaded invoices. And what that means is if I selected that, so ticked it, then when I drop a file into Travel Ledger, if everything's fine with the data in there, it will automatically commit it to the buyer, the buyers that are on that file. It won't ask me to validate it. We do have the opportunity, if we don't tick this, to actually review that data in this area. So I'm going to leave it unticked in this example, and we can review that before committing it to our buyers. So the format of the file as well is the same as you have with SPS. There's been no changes there. So I'm going to just grab a file now that I've already set up. You'll see here Michaela test data 16th of September. You can see here it's the text document, exactly the same as what you use at the moment. So if I double click on that file, 5 invoices have been imported. So then you can see here, I have a file that has been committed, added to Travel Ledger, but I haven't yet committed that because we didn't auto commit. So you can see on here the information, so the name of the buyer and their ABTA details that you're sending that for. It's worth bearing in mind that this example has just got 1 buyer on it, but you can have numerous buyers with different ABTA IDs all within that file as you do now. That's absolutely fine. Booking reference, the name, the dates, and then you've got the amounts as well. Now you can see here we've got transaction status, all of this is matched. So that means there's an active commercial link. So there's a relationship already between a financial agreement and relationship between our test buyer and test seller. It's matched, that fine, that's active in the platform. So that's great. If for any reason you ever have data that isn't matched and you needed to update that, then you can actually select the bookings you need to do that for, click on update partner, and then you can actually change who the partner is and the commercial link there. So everything can be updated in here as well. So that's why I'm showing you this without auto committing it. You do have the opportunity to review that and update your partner information as well, if you do that manually. So we have these 5 bookings here that we want to send to test buyer. Now, if we're happy with them and we wanted to commit them all, then you can use this little button up here to select all and then click on commit. If for any reason you weren't happy with them and you needed to say delete one of them, then you could select the booking to delete and then delete also as well. Or if you were unhappy with all of them, again, you could select all and delete. So that's an opportunity here. So you've got commit, update partner and delete all available to you in this manual process. So let's select them all in this instance and let's say commit. So we can see we've got 5 bookings total and the total value of those bookings as well is displayed to you within this view. So let's select commit. And you'll see that this area has now been emptied because that has been sent to our buyer to review. If you wanted to just double check on that, then you can click onto bookings here. And what you've got underneath is you've got 2 little buttons. You've got sent and received. It's defaulted to received because this area is most heavily used by our buyers. And they receive bookings from sellers. But if you are a seller and you have sent bookings, then you can click this button here. And what that will do is it will display your booking. So I've just loaded these 5 we can see here, but actually there's further bookings that have been loaded earlier that are available there as well. So you can see all the information again around who they're for, so who the buyer is. And you can also see the reference and then whether the status has been changed or not. So these are due, and you can also see the collection date that applies to those and the estimated payment date as well. So that's all visible to you by going into bookings and clicking on send. If you did ever want to as well check on the transaction status, so when you come into here, you will be able to see the status of your bookings with a buyer. So whether a buyer has been in, as I mentioned before, it is mandatory in Travel Ledger for a buyer to accept, amend or reject. They can't just leave things unactioned. So if you're in the middle of, you've submitted and it's the buyer review period and it's say Wednesday morning and you want to check the status of the bookings and see where your buyers are up to with them, you can actually come into here and you can see some are sat on match status. So what that means, and we're looking at potentially updating the wording on this one, but matched at the moment just means that a booking has been matched as you saw before. It hasn't been actioned at this stage by our buyer, but you'll see underneath there's some other bookings that are down as the transaction status accepted, some here also for rejected. So you'll be able to see in here what action and if any has been taken by your buyers throughout the buyer review period as well. With this information displayed in here is useful to you outside of the platform and you want to export that so you can use it elsewhere, then you can do so using our export functionality here. We do have filters across the whole range of fields. So if you did need to filter and say you only wanted to have a look at bookings with a collection date of, say, the 17th of September, then you can choose that and filter would be applied there. Or if you only wanted to look at bookings that have been rejected, because you want to see who's rejecting what, then you can also do that there. So you can see there's one rejected booking here. And then if you went to export that data to use it elsewhere, you click on export and export all data. What that does is it populates a document for you down here, a CSV file, which you can then open. And just let me know, Simon, if you can see this, because I think even when I share my full screen, you can't always see my Excel open up.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, great. You can see that whole data just reflected exactly as it is in the platform into a CSV file for you to use outside of the platform. Now, in terms of data, then exports are really useful here in activity and in the platform. And if I just click on reset filters, for example, here, you can reset everything I've filtered there. And then if you clicked on export and all data, it would give you everything again that's in view here. So your exports are based on what's in view. So if we've got export all data, then it'll export everything here. If you've got a filter applied, it'll just apply to what's been filtered. So that's handy and that's accessible through the bookings area. If you did want to access your data in other ways, then you can also as well. We do have a task scheduler functionality. So in the menu under settings, we've got task scheduler. So if you click on task scheduler, you can use task scheduler to perform regular exports from the platform. So if you've got weekly, monthly, daily files that you need to take out of Travel Ledger, you can automate that through task scheduler and deliver to them to yourself either by FTP again or by email. I would say in this area, email is really popular and definitely the most used. But you can see here, if I just click, I can set up a new scheduled task. So let's say I want to run a task every week to see the transactions. So I can call it Michaela test transactions one. You then choose from the template what it is you're exporting. So we've got the seller reconciliation file there. We've got transactions, we've got a remittances report, and we've also got companies. Companies is a bit different than the other three. You can see the other three perform sort of transactional based reporting. Companies at the bottom actually export a list of all companies that are present within Travel Ledger. What that enables you to do, it's really handy if you want to analyze and see if there's anybody that you are trading with or want to trade with, and whether they're available to you through Travel Ledger or not. So let's say we're doing transactions in this case. I need to name my file, so I could call that transactions one. And then the output file format's automatically populated to CSV. That's what we offer at the moment, is CSV output. Period you can set, so you can ask for that file for all records for all time that you've had in Travel Ledger. So again, a really good reason to use Task Scheduler is, you know, it allows you to get a wider amount of data than is offered in the transactions area, all in one place. And, you know, it's going to come to you by email delivery. So it's going to be a big file that's delivered to you very easily. But you can do that for last year, last month, the last 7 days, or even just today. So there's a wide range of date periods you can schedule that for. So again, I mentioned about delivery methods. You click on email delivery and you can input the email address that you want that to be delivered to. And then we've also got some more information to complete here around when and how we want to receive those reports. So task runtime, you can either set a start date here, so we can put in that I want to start receiving that from today, and then you can put an end date in, or you can leave it blank. So if you leave it blank, it'll run continuously, so it'll always run until you tell it to do otherwise. or you can put in an end date and say, you know, I only need this information for the next 2 months. So I put in 30th of November there. So we can also set a time of day that we want to receive the reports at. So I could say I want to receive it at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I want to receive that weekly or monthly. So if you select monthly, you can say first day, last day, or a specific day of the month. Or if you want to receive it weekly, then you can specify the day. So you can see there it auto-populates Monday, but I could say I'd actually rather receive that on a Tuesday and a Friday. Then you can select those manually. So once you've done that, you can click on save, and that task is then created. So you can see in my list of tasks that I've previously done, we've got Michaela test transactions 1. I think it's on the second page actually. Yeah, so you can see here is the export I've just set up, that task. Now with these, there's 3 actions that you can do. You can click here and run it, and it'll run it now manually. So it just runs that straight away, and I'll get an email now with that report, which is really handy. You can delete the report if you decided you don't need it anymore, it's not relevant. So like before, I didn't put an end date in, but if I no longer need it, I could just delete it. Or I can click on edit here, and what it does is it brings up the information here for me. And if I say I don't actually need it on a Tuesday anymore, just a Friday, then I could amend that report that way too. So those are your key ways really of exporting data then from the platform. So you've got inactivity that you can do through transactions before and export anything you're looking at. But then you can also go to Task Scheduler and set yourself up to do regular tasks that are scheduled and delivered to you either by SFTP or by email more commonly. Okay, so that covers what I wanted to go through with you on the day-to-day activity in the platform. But what I also wanted to just give you some information on is our support as well. So where can you find information on these things and everything else really about the platform that's available to you? So I've mentioned it a couple of times, we do have YouTube. So if you go onto YouTube and search Travel Ledger, you'll be able to bring up all of our videos, all of the webinars that we've done so far. They're available to you to go back and watch. But then also some shorts, they're usually about 5 minutes long, if not shorter, how-to guides, including on refunds, I think is like the latest one and a really useful one for you. We have a wiki, so we have some support pages available to you, which cover really the platform end to end. So if you go to help.travelledger.org, you can access them there. You can actually also go into the platform and you will see here, there's a help button. If you click on help there, it'll take you to our wiki. So our help pages are available to you at any time from within the platform. You can find that there's a welcome bit here that tells you, lots of different things you can look at, but you can also manually navigate through here as well. Lastly, as well, we do have the ability for you to raise a ticket. So if for any reason you aren't able to find the information you need in the wiki or YouTube and you have additional questions, then you can email us at support@travelledger.org, and then we will open a ticket for you on your behalf, and we'll be able to troubleshoot and problem solve from our support desk for you as well. So lots of information here in the wiki and YouTube, but if you need more help and you're not getting what you need from those, or it's an issue you're having, then support@travelledger.org is our contact point there. And I think that's everything from me. So I'll hand you back to Simon for any questions. So we have our Q&A section.
Yeah, we've had a couple of questions come in, but before I go into those, I'll leave a little bit more time for anybody else who wants to raise any other questions. I think today is a very sort of basic, quick view on the platform. I think it's how do we build up the information so that you understand, obviously, there are other parts of the settlement cycle, all the different statuses, and how do you effectively, do your reconciliations, see where things are at on a day-to-day basis. And I think we'll do some more webinars just to build up that knowledge. I did want to just briefly go back onto the platform, Michaela, and just show the data delivery.
Yeah, I did think about that before, actually, after I'd done it. Yeah, so we've got data delivery here as well, which is useful. Do you want me to show this bottom bit, Simon?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah,
of course. So data delivery, I mentioned it earlier as a means of getting your information for doing your SFTP and email automation setup for your files. If you are doing files in that way or manually, it's really handy. I'm going to show you more. So we've got pagination on this. You can see more files. Underneath that information, you have this area here. Now what this does is it shows you any files that your company has uploaded to the platform. It shows the upload type, so you'll see there's manual ones here, but there's also email delivery as well, and FTP delivery examples within this. So you can see how a file's been uploaded, date and time it was uploaded, the file name associated with that file, the account that sent it. So if you've got various users or different emails delivering files, there's accountability there. You can see where that's been done. You can see the number of records in that file. So I showed you that before when we did the manual one, where it highlighted the number of records and the total value. That's also displayed here in our file upload area. Number of records, total value. We've then got a key one here, which is status. So you can see which ones have been loaded, so which files have successfully gone onto the platform. You've then also got an area here where it shows rejected as well. So if for any reason a file has failed to upload, there's a rejected notification as well. Lastly, there's a download button as well. So if you needed to access that file and you needed to do some checks on it to see exactly what it contains, then you can click on download and download that CSV file as well, or a text file even in this case.
So I think it's much more robust and different to the current SPS platform, as I understand it. I think there's always a seller's reconciliation file you get on a Monday. You need to cross-check, did it upload all your files or the transactions that you expect to be there. You don't need to do that on this platform. You haven't, it instantly commits anything you upload. You can instantly see what did I upload, either through this screen or going through the transaction screen and looking on the sent items radio button, which then displays everything that you've committed to the platform. So you always have full visibility of what's going on at any stage in the settlement cycle. And you can always go and have a look at those transactions, as Michaela said, see what's been actioned. And there's various filtering, which I think you'll need to get used to, which we can also build up that knowledge around that.
No.
Okay. Shyama, are you trying to ask a question?
Not really. Sorry, I'll use myself.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So I think there's more probably you need to get to know about around your company structure, which there's some videos on, and we could do that. So if you have more than one office associated with your company, then we will set all that up for you and we'll associate the companies together. If you have both buyer and seller entities, then you can actually do that all from one place as well. And there is actually some videos on that as well, which explain that concept, but we can go through that again. So I think we're sort of nearing the time. I'm going to go through the questions that I've had so far, and please ask any more as needed. So I had a question in terms of sandbox registration. If you want to register on the sandbox or get an invite to that, please send an email to the support address, the support@travelleisure.org, and we'll then process that for you. I had some more questions then around, if you are uploading a file, how do you know if your buyer is registered or not? So at the time of uploading that file, in the matched section, which Michaela showed you on the screen, I don't know if you want to just bring that up, Michaela.
Yeah, we'll do.
I know your computer's running a bit slow, so if
Bear
not,
with
don't
me.
worry. Don't worry,
Yeah.
actually, okay, yeah.
You go to transactions and then import file. You can see here there's a transaction status of, there's no files in there at the moment because I've committed it already, of matched or not matched. So if it's matched, then you know there's that existing commercial link, so there's that financial relationship between yourself and the buyer. And then if it comes up as not matched, then there's an issue there. There's either no commercial link or it's set on pending status. It's not been made a live one as of yet. So you can see that there. And as I mentioned earlier, if you know that there is a live one, but it's not matched for some reason, then you can go into update partners and check that information and validate it and just make sure the right two are selected for that particular transaction. So, you know, you can make that amendment within the platform as well.
And of course, the other way to also see which companies are registered is, you know, go into the task scheduler and just run a companies report, and that'll tell you who's on the platform and who's registered.
Yeah, so it was this template, companies. So that'll give you absolutely everybody that's on the platform. So even if you didn't necessarily have a commercial link with them right now, you weren't set up as partners in Travel Ledger, then you could see that they were active already on Travel Ledger or not. So you can either invite them to Travel Ledger or establish your partnership on Travel Ledger through ABTA.
I think what's also helped immensely is some of the suppliers have very kindly sent out a communication to their buyer network advising that they are moving on to this platform, to please register on the platform, ready to obviously receive the invoices. That's definitely sparked, you know, a lot of interest. You know, we had a lot of calls. So I know we had some missing data, so it's not everybody got the registration, so we sorted that out. So that works very well. You know, I can send you text in terms of what the other suppliers have sent out. It's a pretty generic message. So if you do want that, please reach out to us and I will get that across to you. Okay, so other questions, I think, if I interpret this correctly, is in terms of the text file that you upload. So the file format is a text file. There is on the wiki a description of how that file needs to be constructed. If you are using SPS currently, the file will work because we have made sure that it'll accept SPS files. If you're not currently using SPS and you haven't currently got your system to generate the files in the format, Michaela's showing you where that format is. And if you need assistance with that, obviously then reach out to us and we will help you. But those files, once they're ready, as Michaela demonstrated, can be either uploaded automatically via FTP or emailing them in, or you can manually upload them on the import transaction screen that we demonstrated.
That's like a whole area as well in the wiki there that is dedicated to sellers. So we've got a seller overview and it goes through, you know, all the different things that you might need to do as a seller. So definitely worth having a look at help.travelledger.org.
Thanks, Michaela. I have no further questions. We're here to support and help you through this process. So, you know, there are the videos, there's the help guide, but, you know, if you needed some help, and we're obviously dealing with a lot of different organizations, so we're a little bit thinly stretched, but, you know, if you're a seller and you need some help just to get some things set up and get it going, reach out to us. We can jump on a Zoom call with you and we can step through some of the areas on the system. I've had another question come in which says, will it warn if you upload the same file twice? And the answer is yes, it will. It will block you. It won't let you upload the same file twice. We are looking at the process around that. You may be some instances where you do want to upload a file manually twice. So we are going to tweak that slightly, but rule of thumb is it will see it's a duplicate file and it will block it from being uploaded. Okay, another question that's come in is, once a buyer is registered, does it cover all sellers? Yes. effectively what we're doing is we are setting up links between every seller and every buyer just as a default. So everyone can trade with everybody from the outset. If a commercial link is not in place, and the commercial link really defines the terms and conditions of the payment settlement schedule between the buyer, ABTA, and the seller. There's another session, there's a video on that if we want to go into that in detail. Once if they're not in place, then just reach out to ABTA or Travel Ledger and we'll make sure that that commercial link is put in place.